Good morning, 615. Welcome into the scoreboard show following our Week 7 action brought to you by Fifth Gear Technology. Joe Spears here hosting today as Chris Brooks is on the physically unable to perform list with some unknown illness that's spreading around Middle Tennessee right now. Get better, Chris. We miss you. I still see you behind the booth, but we still miss you. Going to bring in our other guys here today, Scott and Cam. Welcome in, guys.
Good morning.
Hello, Joe.
Scott, I've seen a lot of you this week.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I'm not buying this whole sick thing. I think he's holding out, saving his voice for the voice.
I think he blew out his voice Thursday night watching the Lions beat the Packers. That had to have been.
That's exactly what it has to be.
Big week of action, guys. Scott, you and I were at 2 games Thursday and Friday. You ended your streak of going to a game where an apology had to be made. So congratulations. Well done.
Yeah. Well, it had to happen sometime. Streak had to be broken, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Cam, you're back. Good to have you back this week, and I'm sure you got to watch some football games last night.
Yeah, I got to watch some bits and pieces of some different games. Had a birthday party to go to, but Michaela, my wife, does not like it, but I tend to still watch games on my phone. So I was able to watch some of that Upperman-Smith County game last night, as well as the ending to East Robertson and Westmoreland.
That's a diehard fan there, folks. That's a man.
Yeah, well, is it just me, or does it seem like wherever Cam goes, it's a party?
Apparently, these last 2 weeks, man. What's going on?
Yeah. Hey, if our weekend can turn out a little bit better than last weekend as far as sports goes, we'll be okay.
Can confirm as a Notre Dame fan, I need a much better weekend. So, great week of action, guys. If we want to start things off with Thursday night, Riverdale hosting Cane Ridge. Riverdale put up 49 in the first half. Braden Graham, he can't be in our Player of the Week poll again this week after winning it 2 weeks ago, but 6 touchdowns. Brock Montgomery had 3 of those on 5 receptions. The Warriors just keep on rolling.
Yeah. What was it? 340 yards passing, 6 touchdowns. I mean, he's a human highlight machine, really. And the question is it's going to be interesting to see when it comes down to it. Right now, Riverdale, are they making a case for the Battle of the Borough here?
I mean, I definitely think they could be. The offensive production that they've been able to put up has been widely noticed, but they kind of quietly have a pretty good defense, minus one performance against the Germantown team that is probably going to be playing on Thanksgiving week. So, Riverdale's offense is strong enough to. I wouldn't put it out of the possibility that they could challenge or defeat Oakland. It's just one of those things to where to be the man, you got to beat the man. And unfortunately, nobody in that region has been able to beat Oakland the last 3 years. So
I think if there's a year that somebody could do it, I think it would be this Riverdale team. Braden Graham's taking his game to a next level. They brought in Brock Montgomery, and it seems like he's scoring 2-3 touchdowns every week. That connection is legit. We thought it would be. We thought it would be when we watched them in 7-on-7, and they've really taken that next step. They've lost a couple of really close games, but this Riverdale team, if they drop in the AP rankings again this week, I might lose it on Twitter. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, and if you've not had a chance to see Brock Montgomery, I know Braden Graham is a great facilitator at quarterback for them, but this kid is a legit 6'2", 6'3", 4'5" guy on a 40. Can absolutely fly. He's committed to go to UConn, but I would not put it out of the realm of possibility that he may get a bigger offer than that. So
yeah.
Well, and he's doing more for the offense. I mean, Keyshawn Williams, had a 100-yard day. He didn't have 3 touchdowns, but he had 2 on 6 receptions. So what Graham's able to do is spread the ball around. And now he has the weapons to really make things happen there at that level for the Warriors.
Cane Ridge, believe hosting East Nashville next Thursday. Riverdale, they get the week off. So
That's what Cane Ridge needed, ticked off East Nashville
yeah,
team to come in.
we'll get to them here in a bit. But
Yeah.
it's not going to be good.
No.
Another Thursday night game we want to hit up. This is the one we were at, Scott. Oakland Siegel. Siegel's first drive, Craig Tutt with a pick six. But the Stars responded. Thomas Santel's out at this point, but Terrian Grant comes down with a huge touchdown reception, makes it 7-7. Oakland just kind of takes over from here. DeJuan Morris, man, he had himself a night. This is the first of 4 touchdowns on the night. Puts Oakland up 14-7 at the half. They come out in the second half. DeJuan Morris again, right up the middle. This kid's only a junior. He's going to be insanely good. Picked up offer from TCU. Hat trick hero, DeJuan Morris again. I mean, the burst, the strength. This kid's got it all. The most impressive touchdown of the night here from him, though. I think he makes 4 or 5 cuts. It's just they had nothing. They had nothing for him.
I don't think he was touched on that either.
Avery Hainsworth back from injury, comes in, punches it in the end zone. Ashton Jones added in another touchdown shortly after, but Oakland rolls.
615 Preps here with DeJuan Morris following Oakland's dominant 49-7 win over Siegel. Early on, though, you maybe not would have predicted that score, 14-7 at the half. You guys led. What changed in the second half?
We realized we wasn't playing as a unit first half. I mean, we came out a little slow, a little drowsy, expecting for them to lay over us for us. So, we came out second half with a little energy. Realized that we wasn't playing as a unit, came out second half with a little power, a little strength, and we finished as a team.
You finished the night with 4 touchdowns. Just talk a little bit about your performance. What were you seeing out of the Siegel defense that you were able to take advantage of?
I mean, I would say I get that thanks to my O-line. They opened up holes for me to be able to run the ball, be able to get in space. So I really appreciated that from my O-line.
Talk to me a little bit about that last touchdown run. What did you see? I mean, how many cuts did you make? 4 or 5 there?
4 or 5. So I got between my zone. I think it was like one person I had to make miss, and then after that, it was just me in the open field.
You guys dominated in region play. Is nothing new for this program. How do you build upon this win going forward?
I feel like we still gotta put this behind us. Still play as a team, come back ready after break, and get adjusted to things we got to get new.
Congratulations, man. Good luck going forward. Joe Spears with 615 Preps here with Oakland coach Kevin Creasy following Oakland's 49-7 win over Siegel. Coach, kind of a tale of 2 halves. 14-7 lead at the half. You guys exploded in the second half for 35 points. What was the message at the halftime to your guys?
We've been in a situation before. If we're made out of the right stuff, we'll come out and execute. I thought our guys did a good job of, not just kicking the ball in the end zone to get a touchback, but 3 and out Siegel, and of course they had an unfortunate injury, and we know how those go. But our defense played well all night and created a lot of big plays for us and gave the offense a lot of good field position.
Offensively, DeJuan really stepped up tonight, 4 touchdowns. How big has he been? The growth, how much have you seen out of him growing-wise so far this year?
Yeah, he's coming into his own. He's getting more and more comfortable of what we're asking him to do on offense. And, because he's such a big play threat, we're asking more and more of him. And he's producing, and, he's got a good supporting cast around him. Avery Hainsworth came back tonight, made some plays. A little rusty, but he'll be all right in time. Kyler Creasy came back, a little rusty, but made some plays. I think our quarterbacks finished like 9 for 11, so they were efficient. But at the same time, we're going to rely on Jones and, of course, Morris. They're a good 1-2 punch, and the other guys are great compliments.
Big win, Coach. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I love how calm and reserved and everything that is. And, I was on the sideline, on that side of the sideline at the beginning of that second half. And, he may seem calm reserved. My understanding is those guys got a tongue lashing at halftime. And And from what I understand, several players stepped up too.
Yeah.
And lit it. Kind of picked each other up and challenged each other. And I'm gonna shout to Cam, who was texting with us the whole time and saying, "Boys, it's coming. It's coming."
Well, y'all, it was 14-7 at half, and y'all were panicking. I was like, let's just see how they respond, because I know what's happening in there at halftime because I've seen it being around Kevin when he was Coach Creasy when he was at Trouser County. So
one of the biggest things for me though in this game was Thomas Santel going down. That really hurt Siegel. Not sure the severity of his injury. Happened early on. He had there was
a broken collarbone. He's out for the year.
Yeah, it's awful. I think he maybe only got 5 snaps into the game before it happened, which is awful. They had a young guy come in. He did well. Second half, though, I believe Oakland had 4 straight drives where they finished with an interception. Their defense really stepped up there, but it would have been interesting to see what Santel could have done, because Siegel, to their credit, they moved the ball really well at times for Thursday night. The run game looked really good at times. Oakland just kind of dialed in there in the second half, and with Dewan Morris doing what he does, the quarterback situation for Oakland, it seemed like they were switching Creasy and Freeman out every other play. They were efficient though. So Oakland.
Yeah, that's something that's not unfamiliar to Coach Creasy, running a 2-quarterback system. He's done that before at Oakland. He's also done it just about every year he was at Trousdale County. And, we keep talking about how Oakland's kind of a machine, right? And it was 14-7 at halftime. Then you look up and the final score is 49-7. This team is just all about business. It's just nonstop. They know they're mature. They know what changes need to be made. They really follow the leadership of their coaches. And Coach Creasy knows how to get the best out of them. And here they are 6-1 with an open date with a huge matchup with Riverdale coming here in a few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right, Chris. Santel going down. Chris, sorry, Joe.
We look a lot alike. It's fine.
Yeah, Gus Ramsey just kind of feasted on the younger players. He had 3 picks in the game. They had 4. One, the first play of the game was a pick 6 for Oakland.
Yeah, first defensive play. Oakland had that opening drive where they had to punt, but
yeah, right. The defense in the second half just stepped up. But this Siegel team, when they came out in that first half, right before Santel went down, even after they went down, that was unfortunate because he was in obvious agony.
Yeah.
There on the coming off the sideline, but their younger guys were prepared. They came out, but it was just when it became one dimensional, when they had to start throwing, that's when Oakland really started locking down.
Yep. So Oakland moves 6-1. Their only loss to that team out of Indiana that I don't like to mention as an old high school rival. Siegel also with an open date next week, so both teams get some well-needed rest.
Hey, and kudos to Rutherford County schools and the coaches for getting their fall break lined up with their bye week.
Yep.
A lot of teams don't have the opportunity to do that, so that's very beneficial.
Absolutely. Stewart's Creek gets back in the win column this week, cruising to a 45-14 win over West Creek. Scott, you got anything for this game?
Well, Otay, I mean, it was just not a lot of fireworks, but they go up and get it done. Otay had a touchdown. I think Jerry Taylor had a 66-yard run. But Stewart's Creek went up and did what they need to do, and they are not the Bruins.
No. It was a late night. We'll let it pass this week. The Red Hawks pick up a big win over the Coyotes. So
and West, yeah, it was a late night last night time we got home. So
we'll get to the Bruins and Admirals here in a bit. That was actually a very close game that I don't think any of us could have predicted that score. So
right.
There we go. Brentwood Franklin. Let's talk about this game, guys. Franklin,
gosh.
we say it every week. The best winless team in the state, Franklin. They're gonna get one. They gave Brentwood one of their biggest tests of the season so far. Brentwood scored twice in the second, or scored a couple times in the second half to pull away. Franklin had their chances though. It was a really close game.
Yeah,
Well,
Franklin actually had they scored, or appeared like they scored, fumbled the ball right at the goal line, went out of the back of the end zone for a touchback, or else this one's 31-24 with about 5 minutes to go. And who knows what happens in that one. But they did go back and forth with Brentwood for a while. I believe this one was 10-10 at halftime.
mhm.
It's one of those deals. They've lost 17 in a row. There's not I would almost put my life earnings on this. There's not a better team in the country that is 0-17 than their last 17.
Yeah.
So they need to be Colin Phillips. I tell you, somebody get that juju off of them. But Gavin Nelson had another good night, but the majority of his yardage, I think he had the lion's share of his yardage in the second half, and he kind of took it over late, kind of controlled that and got Brentwood up 2 scores. But yeah, you're right, Cam. If that ball is not fumbled through the end zone, that's a touchdown. We could be talking about a totally different thing. It just seems it's just one thing like that just bites the Admirals. It seems like they just got to keep their heads up because it's coming, and it's coming this year. I fully believe that they're gonna ruin somebody's night this year.
Brentwood moves to 7-0. They head into a huge matchup next week with another undefeated Williamson County team in Centennial. It's our spotlight game of the week. Hopefully, Chris, you're feeling better by then. You can get out to that one. It's a big matchup. Franklin 0-7, like we said. They take on Ravenwood, and you know what? It's probably going to be a close game just because Franklin is that good. They can keep up with teams.
Yep.
Brighton cruises to a 48-6 win over Republic. Republic 0-7. They got that open date next week. Brighton is traveling to Munford. Munford's very good this year. Kind of a score that caught me by surprise last night. I knew this Christian Brothers team out of Missouri was very good. They got a couple kids going to Division I. I believe one of their wide receivers is going to Oregon, maybe Ohio State. But Lipscomb Academy gets down at home 48-21. Another blowout loss to a team from out of state. Not the result you want to see if you're a Mustangs fan. I don't think it's time to panic, though. I mean, they've lost to some really good teams, but you never want to see a blowout loss.
And man, D2 AAA is in shambles right now at the moment. I mean, Lipscomb is 2-4. I know another score you'll see coming up. There's another team that some of us picked to win the state championship, and they're 1-6 now. So, it's just in shambles. But one thing that is beneficial to D2 AAA is all of them make the playoffs. Every one of them. And these teams are talented enough. All they got to do is get hot at the right time.
Yeah, I think Tav Schaefer had a kind of a I don't want to say pedestrian night, but I'm going to say something of the like. That Christian Brothers just did a good job defending the pass, and so he didn't have a bad night. But on a night when you needed a really good passing game to complement you, I think that it just didn't work out. And that's not on him. That's on the entire offense.
When's the last time we've seen Lipscomb give up 48 points in a game?
That is a very, very good question.
It's been a long time. That Christian Brothers offense really, they did work. I think Lipscomb's defense, big bounce back week next week as they travel to NBA. I believe Edwin Spillman, Caleb Beasley, those guys are going to be very fired up for that game after last night. So
yeah, and you made a good point there, Joe. You did make a good point. When you're behind the 8 ball, it does make your offense one-dimensional.
Right. That 1-16 Cam was talking about, Brentwood Academy loses to Clearwater Academy out of Florida. Just the struggles continue for the Eagles.
Yeah, and it's honestly, I hate to call out a position group, but line play has not been great for the Eagles this year on both sides of the ball. And unfortunately, first year coach Jacob Gill is having a hard time with it. And, you look at George's numbers, George McIntyre, the 5-star quarterback for Brentwood Academy. He threw for 300 yards again last night in a loss. It's just one of those things to where they've not been able to put it together this year, and they are a team. As some of us did pick them to win the state championship, they are a team that if they get hot at the right time and can continue to grow, they're going to be a tough out.
Yeah, I think this is at 1-6 has got to be possibly the worst record I think that I've ever seen them with a start. But like you said, Cam, you can end this on an up note. You're not out of it by any shape, form, or fashion. But yeah, the defense and defensive line, offensive line has to be they have to improve. I don't know anything about Clearwater Academy, so I can't say whether this is a good win. Good loss, bad loss for Brentwood Academy. I do know that McIntyre had 310 yards passing, so they did move the ball. But not knowing as much about Clearwater Academy as I'd like, I can't really speak to how the result of this game as far as whether this is a bad loss for Brentwood.
Defensively, Brentwood Academy really struggling this year, too. I know we talked about that line play. Sorry, Mike Hitton decided I'm a jungle gym. But defensively, the Eagles have just not been able to put it together outside of the one win they have. So we'll see what happens going forward. They host a Knox Catholic team next week that's really, I think, maybe overachieved in a lot of ways. I think a lot of people thought if you go into this game, maybe the records would be flipped. Knox Catholic's pretty good this year, but Brentwood Academy gets them at home, so it'll be interesting to see how that one plays out. Cookeville Gallatin. This is a result that threw me for a loop, guys. Gallatin was up big in this one. Cookeville made a big comeback, and they get the win in the end.
Yeah, I think at one time the score was 23-7 Gallatin, and it just the wheels came off after that. I think it was a late fumble gave Cookeville the ball, and they were allowed to cash it in. Yeah, this was a game that I didn't foresee this result, and I guess we'll find that out on Wednesday.
This is just one of those that it's part of the growing pains of building a program. You get a huge win last week against Green Hill. A game where nobody expected you to win, a game that at the time looks like it may lock up a home playoff game for you if you handle your business. And then you come back next week in a game where everybody's picking you and lose a tough one to Cookeville off of some costly mistakes. But, this is just growing pains for Coach Strapp and this Gallatin team. It does put into question their playoff seeding, and that region is more than likely going to end up a wreck. There's going to be 5 and now maybe 6 teams, that are fighting for those 4 spots, and 2 teams are going to get left out. And unfortunately for Gallatin, this is a game that could cost them a tiebreaker and could kick them out.
Yeah.
Rough night for the Green Wave. They got a much-needed open date next week, as does Cookeville. Looks like we got FRA Davidson Academy. Davidson Academy's line struggled all night, but the Bears get on the board first last night thanks to this field goal that went all the way to the highway, I believe. FRA immediately answers, though. Ty Clark up the middle for the first of 3 touchdowns on the night. He's very good at the game of football, guys. Davidson Academy would not be denied, though. They actually take the lead here in the second half after forcing a fumble early on. The FRA, they just could not be stopped at times. Kennard hits up Bobby Council, who we'll talk about here in a minute. did it all last night for the Panthers. Huge reception here to set up another Ty Clark touchdown. He's very good, folks. He's very good at the game of football analysis. Nothing. We had what was his name, Scott? Speed.
Charlie Speed.
Charlie Speed makes up for a drop pass on the previous play that set up a 4th down. Ty Clark, though, putting it away right here, right up the middle from 25 yards out. Davidson Academy would add on another touchdown after this, but so would FRA on Bobby Council's 77-yard touchdown reception. Panthers roll.
Ty Clark here with FRA following the Panthers' 34-19 win over Davidson Academy. What a game, man. You scored 3 touchdowns to lead the offense to the win. Just talk a little about going against that Davidson Academy defense and what they bring to the table.
Oh, they were tough. We knew they were going to be a tough opponent coming in. 2 undefeated teams, and they stacked the box, so they really wanted to stop the run. It's hard, though, because we got those big boys up front. They're working, and then I could run behind them, so it was a good game.
When you guys were on offense, it seemed like you could move the ball at will. I know they got a couple of stops. But to do that against a defense like Davidson Academy, how big is that as you go towards the rest of the season?
Oh, man, that's huge. It just continues to show how much we've worked, throughout the week, throughout the year. We like to say take it one day at a time, win each day, and hopefully end up leading up to those Friday wins. So, yeah.
I know you did your thing tonight, but let's talk a little bit about Bobby. He's been balling out. I know he had that 77-yard touchdown reception, but on defense, he led the team with 3 sacks. How important is it to see him lead that defense and do what they did tonight against Knox and those guys?
Bobby is a dog. Every shoe, you throw him anywhere on the field. We got him at running back, defensive end. We got him at punter. He does everything. We need him. He's a key factor. So yeah.
This is the first of big region wins. Obviously, you've beaten some teams, but Davidson Academy undefeated.
Yeah.
CPA here in a couple weeks is going to be another huge game. But to get this win, how important is it momentum-wise going into that CPA game?
Momentum-wise, it's huge, and it's good for our guys too to show perseverance too. We struggled a little bit in that first half, but continue to pick it up. So going into next week, we're looking up going into next week. So
undefeated going into week 8. Congratulations, man.
Thank you so much.
What's going on, guys? Joe 615 Preps here with Bobby Council following FRA's 34-19 win over Davidson Academy. 2 undefeated teams going at it tonight in a huge region matchup. You guys come out with the win. What's this mean for the team going forward?
There's a lot of confidence to the team for sure. All week we knew it was going to be a tough match. All week we knew we were going to have a great competition. I think it was a great team win. It brought us closer together. This is one of our toughest matches, especially being a region game. So when we come out for this, it gives us confidence. It pushes us forward to weeks, come on weeks, so we can get closer together as a team.
Got to talk about your performance. I think you had 3 sacks. You had that long touchdown. You just feeling it tonight? What's going on out there, man?
Honestly, I enjoy it. I try to play every game like it's my last. You never know when it's going to be your last game. So I'll give it all my all, and I like to play for my team. So that's what I really do.
I know we talk a lot about this offense, you and Ty and Kennard putting up big points, but defensively, you guys put on a show. Is this an underrated defense in your opinion?
Honestly, I do feel like we're a very underrated defense. We come together as a team. Every defense makes minor mistakes, and I feel like we come back on those minor mistakes and we come to each other and, we lean on each other and we push through it.
Last thing I got for you, that's a really good quarterback in Knox Roberts.
He is.
You guys never let him get comfortable tonight. How important was that?
That was very important. All week, all we had to do was apply pressure to him. And I feel like that's a great thing. If we apply pressure, we knew we could get him out the box and let our other players make the play. So it was a big thing for us this week, was getting him out the pocket, force him out to roll out, try to make him get out the pocket. That's
Congratulations, man.
FRA 34-19 winners over Davidson Academy. I'll start this one off by first saying that view at FRA is gorgeous. If you haven't been to a game at FRA, get out there now while you can still see the sunsets before the game starts.
Oh my God.
It's easily top for me. Just view-wise, it's beautiful. Game-wise, Bobby Council is a grown man, folks. Goodness. FRA, I believe, ended up with 10 or 11 sacks. Council had 3 of them. Luke Masterson had 3. Bobby also, like you said, he did the punting. He was a great punter. He didn't have to punt much last night, but he had a couple of really good ones. And then he had that he had a 77-yard touchdown reception that I didn't get video of because I didn't see it coming, to be honest with you. I thought I foresaw FRA running the ball, and I thought I'd have time to get down the sideline. Didn't happen. Huge game for him. Ty Clark in front of, I believe it was a Wake Forest scout that was there maybe last night.
Yep.
We might be seeing could be seeing something there in the future. I believe he's already got an offer from Wake Forest, but I'm sure he was impressed with what he saw of Ty Clark. FRA's line was the story of this one, though. Never let Knox Roberts get comfortable. They had a couple of touchdowns, but FRA just a little deeper, and the Panthers proved why they're one of those teams I think should be really in the mix as a favorite to win D2A this year. D2AA, sorry.
Yeah, let me just talk to the scouts who are watching this. Okay, get to FRA. You're not going to regret it. You got to see Ty Clark, and if you're not offering him, it's scout malpractice. Okay,
Agreed.
It is. But and trust me, go for the view and the cheeseburger. Can't go wrong.
Can confirm
that the view. Yeah, I'm going to concur with you, Joe. I have never been to a field where I felt like I felt like we were in the clouds. I mean, it's honestly one of the best views, up on that hill. But it is a trek. You will need a Sherpa, or at least, but they do provide some assistance up the hill. But it's worth the trek. Trust me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to agree with everything you said regarding Bobby Council. Now, he's just amazing on both sides of the ball. And I didn't see it coming either, Chris. I got a great shot of him catching the ball away from me, running away from me. It was that kind of night, I think. But talk about the defense. They only allowed 8 yards rushing.
Yeah.
To Davidson Academy. It was they shut down that defensive line, shut down the holes for the most part. They stayed. Knox Roberts could not get comfortable all night. They had to resort to quick passes for the most part because he was under constant barrage. Council and crew just absolutely. But let me tell you, this Davidson Academy team, they're good.
Yep.
They're real good. That was a really good team. It would just seem like in the second half, once FRA was able to take the lead and stretch it, that was all she wrote.
Yeah.
Yeah, ditto to what you guys said about Ty Clark. Depends on who you ask. May be the best running back, especially the best senior running back in our area. And Davidson Academy answered some of our questions. We thought that they were the third team in this region. We just didn't know how big the gap was between them and FRA and CPA. And that gap's a little bit closer than what some people thought. I know it's a little bit closer than what I thought. Yeah. But this FRA team is, that game's going to be really tough to pick here in a couple weeks. Really tough. And it's going to be we're going to have several behind-the-scenes conversations on that week on which game is the spotlight game, I think.
Yeah, agreed. Big win for FRA. They moved to 7-0. They host BGA next week. Davidson Academy should have a bounce back week next week against Webb. Agree with Cam. I mean, I think these are two of the top 3 teams in that region, and the FRA CPA game's looking very, very good in the next couple weeks. Rossview gave up some points finally. They cruised to a win, but the Hawks, that defense, guys, they've been impressive. I know they gave up 6 points last night. It's a lot more than they've given up the last 4 weeks previous. So anything on this one?
Scott, air five, high five. We nailed this one on our show this week. We said defense was going to be the word, and that's definitely what happened last night for the Hawks as they set themselves up to host a playoff game. They're 5-0 in the region. Huge game coming up here think it's in a couple of weeks with Clarksville.
Yeah, that's going to be a very interesting game. Clarksville's premier running attack against Rossview's defense. That's setting itself up to be a classic. But yeah, you know, they gave up a late 6 to Dickson County, so I'm sure that's going to stick in their craw a little bit.
Make them run sprints.
Yeah, as much as they take pride in that defense. But what they have to look at here is the good side is the points that they were able to put up. Their offense is starting to click. It's starting to be able to put points on the board. That's going to make things very, very interesting in that region.
Yep. Rossview, my guess is they may post another shutout next week. They host a struggling McGavick team. Dickson County, they got an open date. So good time for them to get some rest and recover. Surprise of the night, guys. Smyrna over East Nashville. I believe this game was 14-9 for, it felt like, 8 years. And then Smyrna at the end, I believe with just over 2 minutes remaining, they score a touchdown, they get the 2-point conversion. It's kind of some chaos at the end. East Nashville had a chance to potentially go for a Hail Mary. I'm not sure they got it, but Smyrna, they've been on a little bit of a roll now. They get an open week next week. East Nashville, back-to-back losses before they go to Cane Ridge next week.
Yeah, big night for Thomas Jones. First of all, before the game, he commits to Vanderbilt as a preferred walk-on.
There you go.
Announced that on, I think he got that on TV last night. But yeah, big comeback for Smyrna. They make a statement. They are not done. Reports of their demise have been greatly exaggerated. Austin Morris found Tyreek McCarver for the game winner with about 3 minutes left. My understanding, though, and from what I've been able to see so far, reviewing the film on this one, is that East, it's that same story. When you make turnovers and you get penalties at the wrong time, you're going to let a good team stick around, and maybe a team that's hungry stick around. It is going to bite you. Yep. And East Nashville got bitten by that just by mistakes, letting Smyrna hang in there, and then Smyrna absolutely shut the door on them.
Yeah, and Smyrna's a team, if you look at their scores this season, they've done a pretty good job defensively. They've just struggled to find points, and this is the type of games that they're going to win. The games where they can keep it in the 17-14, the 21-14 type range is the games that they're going to win. But East Nashville is a team that, 3 weeks ago against Liberty Creek, a game that was a lot closer than what we thought it would be. And that is not only a testament to, East Nashville struggling, but it's also a testament to that Liberty Creek team as they found some stuff on offense here in the last few weeks. But Smyrna is the story here. Started 0-4. They've won their last 3. They're in a region to where they win a couple more games, and they may be hosting a playoff game.
Smyrna Antioch here soon, I believe. That's going to be it's a big region matchup. That's for the top spot in the region. So big win for the Bulldogs. East Nashville trying to figure some things out. They have a bit of a short week as they'll play on Thursday. East Robertson, Westmoreland, another score that much closer maybe than we would have predicted. Cam, you saw the end of this one. Talk us through it.
Yeah, so Westmoreland, I just was scrolling scores, and I saw that Westmoreland was up 12-6 in the second half of this one, and had to turn it over on East Robertson's Facebook Live to catch the end of this one. But I catch literally the play that you want to see, and that is 39 seconds left. East Robertson throws a jump ball. Elijah Groves jumps up and catches the thing at the goal line for the touchdown. The ensuing extra point was hit low, but was good. So East Robertson goes up 13-12. Westmoreland, not a great passing team, was not able to do anything in the last 30 seconds to put this one in jeopardy. But just the main idea that I got from East Robertson fans in the Facebook Live was the same old story, guys. They're struggling with penalties big time. They have, as Scott mentioned about East Nashville, they're at the wrong time. They just stockpile, they roll over. They're having a hard time with discipline and trying to sure up some of those mistakes like penalties. They're not really defensively. They've been really good. They had the same scenario a few weeks back, and they won a game 20-7 over Monterey. And talent wise, East Robertson is probably 21, 28 points better than both of these teams, Westmoreland and Monterey. But this is a type of situation to where, you can call me a homer if you want to, but if they play like that next week, Charles County will beat them.
I'll call you a homer, but I agree with you.
And part of this, and this is something that Coach Brooks and his staff has to figure out, because it may be a case of they're trying to do too much when playing good defensive teams, because this is two good defensive teams they played back to back. And, when you play good defensive teams and you're not getting the results that you're used to, you tend to overplay, you tend to overcompensate. And that means that you hold or you jump on a snap, or, you're trying to do, and it may be just they need a calming effect, or they need to have another good solid win to just kind of get out of their own heads. I don't know. We'll see next week against Stroudsville County, like you said. How they progress this week.
Westmoreland with the open date next week. East Robertson, I'm sure they probably wish they had an open date next week to maybe work on some things. Instead, they host Trousdale County. Big game there. Trousdale County picking up some things. Maybe not the team you want to see next week if you're East Robertson. Gordonsville picking up a big win over Forest, 31-7. The Tigers moved to 4-3 on the year. That Red Bowling Springs game next week could be a lot of fun. A lot of points maybe put up in that one. Forest will travel to Marion County, team that's really doing well this year. I think they're up there as one of the best in 2A.
Yeah, unfortunately, Gordonsville, I don't think it was in this game. I think it was last week, but lost Gentry, the big receiver for the year. But what a job Jay Foster's been doing as a sophomore quarterback. He's been able to get this Gordonsville offense moving down the field, and they've been able to put up consistent points. And defensively, they've been pretty sound ever since that Smith County game. So this Gordonsville team is definitely, in my opinion, still the favorite here in this region.
And when's the last time we said that Gordonsville East at Red Bowling Springs game could be a key game? And it could. Both teams are playing very well, and that very well could be a shootout there.
Yep. Friendship Christian bounces back in a big way, 41-3 winners over Providence Christian. They got an open date next week. Providence has got to travel to Ezel Harding. Big win for Friendship after last week.
Tyson Walcott does what Tyson Walcott does, 277 yards on the ground and 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, and he does what he does, and he finds the end zone is what he does. I believe with last night's total is 28 touchdowns through 7 weeks.
Yeah, goodness gracious. Giles County, Watertown. This looks more like a basketball score, to be honest with you guys. The Bobcats moved to 4-2. Watertown, though, they figured some things out on offense. I believe they started a new quarterback that really got them going. Purple Tigers 2-5. They got that open date next week, but much better offensive showing for Watertown than they've had the last couple weeks.
Yeah, but it's kind of give and take. They were better offensively, but I don't remember the last time Watertown gave up 50.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. Glencliff loses to Centennial 62-0. Cougars offense really got going after kind of struggling last week with Nolensville. Elijah Nieves nearly perfect, 11 of 13. He had a couple touchdowns. Dominic Reed doing what Dominic Reed does. He had a big game last night. I believe he threw for an 80-yard touchdown. He ran for a couple. Centennial moving to 7-0 with that Brentwood game looming on the horizon.
Yep, Chris, I'm jealous.
Greenbrier. This game, I believe I got the pick wrong here. I picked White House Heritage. Greenbrier getting the 12-point win over the Patriots to go to 2-5. White House Heritage struggling a little bit. They will they'll host Stewart County next week, while Greenbrier, they host Pearl-Cohn. Good luck.
Yeah, I believe we all got this one wrong, and unfortunately for White House Heritage, I think they started 3-0 and they're 1-3 since then. So definitely not heading in the right direction.
Good week for them to bounce back next week. Hendersonville, kind of a score maybe we wouldn't have predicted, honestly. Hendersonville 21-7. Good bounce back win for the Commandos, but I believe Mason Baker got banged up a little bit in this one, Scott.
Yeah, that's my understanding, is that in the second half, Baker was replaced. But by then, I think the Commandos were in control of this game. This is kind of the result that I was, that I think that, as we discussed, I thought we were expecting. And Springfield was, they're offensively, they just are young and they're struggling right now, but their defense is nothing changes with the Dustin Wilson defense. But the Commandos, they bounce back from that beach loss, and we'll see where this takes them. Good region win though.
Yep. Henry County 45-13 win over Portland. The Patriots keep on rolling. Portland continues to struggle. That Henry County Beach game, though, huge region matchup next week, seeding-wise. Portland, they got the open date.
Yeah, it's going to be a heck of a battle next week on the island.
Yep.
Hickman County 29-6 win over Cheatham County. The Bulldogs moved to 4-3. Cheatham County 2-5, and they are at Sycamore next week. Great game here. Nolensville scored late to beat Hillsborough. Hillsborough showing everybody that the Boroughs are, in fact, a very legit team. Nolensville, big win, bouncing back last week. They're at James Lawson next week, while Hillsborough will host Page.
Yeah, this is the game we knew would be tough. It was going to be a tough scoring game. Hillsborough had the lead late in this game, and Zion Tomaska, he scores late. I think under 10 minutes to go to give the Knights the lead. They pull it out, but let me tell you, Deshaun Trotter for the Burros has been absolutely lighting it up offensively. Quarterback there, he had 252 yards and 2 scores for Hillsborough. Both these teams are just really, really good, and Nolensville comes out on top this time.
I felt sorry for Region 5-5A.
Yeah.
Centennial, Page, Nolensville, Hillsborough. Man, that's looking like maybe a sweep for Region 6 in round 1.
It could be.
Very much so. Speaking of those Patriots, Page, they figured it out, guys. 50-0 win over James Lawson. No, they had their struggles early on, but I think that is long gone. Page 6-1 at Hillsborough, like we said, next week. That's a huge matchup. James Lawson, they'll host Nolensville, but how about those Patriots?
Yeah, and Coach Rathbone will be the first to tell you he's fine with the quietness around the Page Patriots. It allows him to keep his group focused and continue to grow, and they've definitely done that. Huge game next week.
Yeah, I believe this game was over in the first quarter. It was 36-0 at the end of the first quarter. It's James Lawson again. New school. They're still learning. They had some success early, but you get into these games, and it's just going to take you some time. But Page, this is 5 straight wins for them now. They are rolling at the right time. Eric Hazard, another solid performance. He gets another safety. He has a sack. That defense for Page is a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, we talked about Ty Clark. Scouts, if you are watching, come watch Eric Hazard. That dude is a machine at linebacker.
What are you talking about if you're watching? This is where everybody comes to get their stuff. Come on.
A little bit of a spoiler for the rankings this week. Welcome to the rankings page. Kenwood 46-6 win over Northeast. The Knights get their first win of the year. Northeast struggling. They'll host West Creek next week, while Kenwood will host Northwest.
Yeah, Kenwood getting healthier. I think they got a couple players back this week, and it's going to be interesting to see how they finish out. But Kenwood can put some points on the board, quite frankly.
Yeah, played really tough competition the first 5 weeks too. So don't overlook the Knights here over the back half of the year.
Yep.
Ezel Harding winning the 7-Eleven Bowl. It looks like they beat TKA 11-7. Very low scoring game, but Ezel, they got the win. That's all that matters.
I believe this is the second game this year they've won 11-7.
No scoregami there. I think you're right.
No scoregami then, yeah. Holds Kings Academy to 120 yards total offense. Turn them over twice. I mean, those are the things you have to do in a tight game. Ezel Harding, 4-3, winning record at this point in the season. Tremendous step forward for this team.
Yeah, Coach Stewart doing a great job.
Yeah,
they host Providence Christian next week, and could be a really interesting game, man.
That could be. There are a lot of good games on the schedule next week for open week.
Yeah.
This is one of them.
Yep.
This is going to be one of them.
Liberty Creek, the Wolves, they figured it out, like Cam has mentioned. Since that East Nashville loss, they've really turned things around. They beat up on Kirkwood 47-23. Can't make my Cobra Kai jokes lately because Kirkwood's dropped 3 straight. But how about the Wolves picking up a big home win?
Brian Rager, we kept waiting for the game where, and he performs week in, week out, but we're really looking for the game where he really jumped out, and this week he had it. 13 of 14, incredible efficiency, passing the ball, 208 yards, 5 touchdowns, and then he runs for another 111 yards in the score. 6 touchdowns, folks, count them. Brian Rager, another one of those guys that we have to say, hey, scouts, you want to be seeing this? Yeah, you need to see this. Liberty Creek just keeps getting better and better.
Yeah, they are a really good offensive football team, in my opinion. Even if you look at a couple of their losses on the road at Smith County, put up 28 points on that Smith County defense. I'm pretty sure nobody else has done that this year. And, they've played some really talented football teams, Smith County has. So that's just a testament to what Coach Alexander is building over there at Liberty Creek.
Mm-hmm.
NBA getting a big win at home over Knox Catholic. The Big Red get their second win of the year. Knox Catholic gets their first region loss. They'll travel to Brentwood Academy next week. If you're a Brentwood Academy fan, you maybe like this score. You like to see a Knox Catholic team that's lost to NBA. NBA, they will host Lipscomb Academy. That could be very interesting.
We talk about these teams, and NBA is to a T. They are a defensive football team this year. If they can keep the games in this range, 17-14, 21-14, they can win some of these games.
Yep.
They just have to be able to keep it there.
Yeah, don't look in your rear view if you're in Division II AAA, because NBA is creeping up on you. Brooklyn Davis, another good night, run the ball, 34 carries, 221 yards, couple of scores. The Big Red is they're rebuilding that offense, but that defense, it's already there.
Yep. Laverne, how about the Wolverines picking up a 27-12 win over McGavick? Laverne's offense has kind of been stagnant at times. Wasn't the case last night. Put up 27 points. They get the break. They get a open date next week, while McGavick travels to Rossview and tries to score on that Hawks defense.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken, they were down 6-0 at half in this one, and
Wow.
was able to explode in the second half.
Yeah, I don't think the win's the only thing they're going to get this week.
Macon County, this was our spotlight game of the week. Macon County 32-20 wins over DeKalb County. A lot of points in this one, guys.
Yeah. Macon County actually hits the Music City Miracle on the opening kickoff, and Gabe Borders scores on the opening kickoff. So that was pretty cool. This was a game that went back and forth until the second half, and Macon County was able to pull away. And I believe it was you, Scott, on the show this week that mentioned this Macon County defense. And man, what a job they did in that second half. I believe they allowed 6 points in the second half. So, yeah, huge win for Macon County, especially for playoff seeding, as this sets them up to hopefully, for their case, host a playoff game.
Yeah, and a big night for DeKalb County as far as the Briz Trap and those guys go. I had some stats here, but I seem to have lost them. Here we go. So Briz Trap had 123 yards passing, but Malachi Trap 134 yards on the ground. So Macon County's defense is stretching out, but like you said, this was a team victory for Macon County. I think as they continue to spread the ball around. Luke Gammons had a couple of scores on the night, but Gabe Borders, he had a receiving touchdown. He had that, you said, Music City Miracle. They find ways to put points on the board. Kyle Shoulders, he's not afraid to pull anything out as long as the end result is score. And so, you won't find many teams that are as fundamentally sound or creative in all phases of the game than the Macon County Tigers.
Macon County 6-1. They'll travel to Livingston Academy next week to try and keep this going, while DeKalb looks to get back on track at home next week against Cumberland County. Fairview, another team we're really not talking a whole lot about, guys. They're 5-2 on the year, following a 34-20 win over Montgomery Central. Yellow Jackets have really picked it up since those early season struggles.
Yeah, and they're finding their offense now. I think Chris Hughes has never been one to shy away from trickeration or creativity on the offense, but you're starting to see them put points on the board. Especially for a young team like Fairview is. I mean, they're extremely young. I think they're a little bit ahead of where we thought they would be at this point of the season. But they're doing really well. Montgomery Central getting points on the board though, and keeping this one within shouting range. That's a good sign for their program.
Absolutely. Mount Juliet, they remain unbeaten. The Golden Bears win this one 31-14. Antioch, kind of a brutal stretch when you look at their schedule right now, guys. They have Mount Juliet this week. They got CPA on the road next week, but this isn't the same old Bears team. I think they can give these teams some issues. They did Mount Juliet last night, but the Golden Bears find a way to win. They go into their open date unbeaten.
Yeah, Antioch is really a team that they may be one of those teams coming to the playoffs that may have a 4-6 or a 5-5 record. But when you look at their record, and they could be a region champion, that is definitely in the possibility for Antioch, as they've won the right games, and that's what matters as far as playoff seeding goes. So definitely a tough stretch. A really good Mount Juliet team this week, and then you go to CPA next week. It definitely doesn't get easier.
You play these games to get better for the region matchups, and that's what Antioch's done.
Yeah, this game was 17-7 at the half, Mount Juliet. And so Antioch was actually playing some pretty good defense at that point. But one thing about, when you're building a program is that you may not have the depth in all areas that a team like Mount Juliet has, and games will tend to get away from you late. Not to make excuses for the Bears, but you do see that. So if they're a region, if that Smyrna Antioch game that's coming up is going to be what I'm looking for, but they can't overlook CPA, and they have to stay healthy. Another great game for John Michael Crudup for Mount Juliet, though. These guys just keep rolling, and their region's going to be. I mean, everybody's looking to them right now.
Grace Christian shut out blowout win over in Mount Juliet Christian 47-0. MJCA has that open date, while Grace Christian will host Whites Creek next week.
Yeah, Kyle Davidson doing what Kyle Davidson's been doing all year. He had 3 scores on the night. Good game for Franklin Grace.
This was a fun game over at Father Ryan. MUS downs the Irish 28-24. This was a close game all night. MUS scored in the fourth quarter to take the lead. Then their defense held late. Father Ryan's now dropped 3 straight as they host Innsworth next week. MUS kind of one of those D2 or AAA teams that's very, very quiet right now.
Yeah, we talked about their defense and how good their defense was, and they did get 3 interceptions off of JoJo Crump last night, which you just can't have against a team like MUS. And yeah, you're right. Father Ryan has dropped 3 straight, and the game they're going into is going to be a huge game.
Yeah, I said it earlier. D2 AAA is setting up to where good luck on anybody picking playoffs.
Yeah, and which is great for us.
A lot of really close games last night, guys. This was another one. Nashville Christian in overtime beats Goodpasture 31-30. Guys, got anything for this one?
Yeah, just some late game magic for Jared Curtis. He scores on like a 1-yard run, a short run, to tie it up in overtime, and then they go for 2, and he tosses the game winner to Ryan DeMonbrium.
If I'm not mistaken, the Eagles started 0-3, now 3-3 since Jared Curtis has come back from having an illness. So this Nashville Christian team is, preseason we had them number 1 in D2 single A, and they may not be there yet, but I think they're definitely headed in the right direction.
Nashville Christian hosting Columbia Academy next week. That should be a really good game. Columbia Academy can put up points. Goodpasture with the open date. Clarksville, the Wildcats keep on rolling. 55-0 win over Northwest. Every single phase right now, Clarksville's hitting on.
Yeah, James Dalrymple, another big scoring night, 55 yards. I don't know what Isaac Shelby's got in the Gatorade up there, but these guys are just running people over, and they're doing it, and they're getting wins the way good teams get wins. He's got guys up there. Yeah, I think Dalrymple had like 98 yards, but they've got another, 3 other running backs that one of them went out for almost 200. That lineup there is just creating, gaps for these guys to run through. Clarksville, we look at their competition and you say, yeah, well, but you look at the way they're beating them and you realize this is a very good Clarksville team that's going to cause some damage down the road.
It definitely could. I do think that Clarksville does need to have a close game, though, at some point for playoff purposes, just so that way they're tested before the playoffs, because I know several teams that schedule-wise you can't – in their region, they can't pick who's in their region, and they can't decide that, 4 out of the 7 teams in the region may go winless. That's out of their control. But they've done what they need to do in those games. But for playoff purposes, I would like to see Clarksville have a close game.
I understand that.
Independence gets back on the winning track, 35-0 win over Overton. They'll host Fairview next week, while Overton will host Summit.
Yeah, they held Overton to 162 total yards offense. Luke Manelli, another stellar game, solid game.
Another one of those 1-point overtime wins. Pope Prep, 34-33 win over BGA. This game was back and forth all night. BGA made a bit of a late run. Pope, they get the win in overtime, though, and that's all that matters.
Talk about a young team getting better, man. And they got a great centerpiece in Elijah Robb, senior running back. But freshman quarterback. The Knights are coming into their own here late in the season.
Blackman, they get another win, 35-12 over Pierre Academy. The Blaze go into the open week 3-4 and have a lot of momentum going forward right now. Station Camp 21-15 win over White House. In overtime. You guys got anything for this game? Really close one.
No, I haven't been able to find any information on this game yet, but a great win for the Station Camp Bison here. That truly needed a win. White House, I'm not going to lie, I'm a little surprised by this result, but Station Camp, they're playing tough, and they're a tough out for anybody. Good to see them get on the board.
Yeah, the game that I actually got this one right. I picked Station Camp in this game. Both teams had one common opponent, and that was Marshall County. White House lost 53-14. Station Camp lost 20-11. So I thought that Station Camp's defense was a little bit more battle tested, so that's why I picked Station Camp, and turned out to be true.
I didn't do that much research, and that's why I got it wrong. Stratford high scoring win over Hunters Lane 47-40. Big win for the Spartans, who moved to 4-3. They'll host Maplewood next week. Hunters Lane, they'll host Springfield. Ravenwood, the 6-1 Quiet Rafters keep on rolling. 24-7 win over Summit. They got Franklin next week. Summit will be at Overton. Excuse me.
Yeah, no Carter Pace in this game, no problem. David Dallin stepped in, 103 yards and 2 scores. But big running night for Summit, 228 yards rushing.
Sycamore gets its first win of the year, 48-28 win over Maplewood. The War Eagles will host Cheatham County, while Maplewood will travel to Stratford.
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Upperman. I believe it's Upperman. Thanks for the highlights from our friends at the Upper Cumberland Reporter. Upperman scores here early. I think both their touchdowns actually came in the first half. Defensively, the Bees were just stout all night. They gave up a little bit of play here, but they forced fumble. This Upperman defense has been great all year. They get the rushing touchdown here to kind of put the game away, honestly. You think 14-0 early in the first quarter or first half, this could go either way. But Smith County, though, defensively, this defense is really good. They get the interception right here. But I think a little bit too much Upperman in this one, kind of like we predicted. Just way too deep for the Bees. Ooh, goodness, what a hit.
Peyton Hicks for you,
Peyton
ladies and
Hicks. That's two highlights in a row for Hicks.
He's having a good year, guys.
Yeah.
Big year. I thought that was Hicks again. I didn't see the number there.
That is Colin Johnson.
I was like, goodness, he's 3 in a row. Upperman gets the win here, but Smith County, their defense putting on a show, it looked like.
Yeah, just a gritty, just tough matchup. We thought it would be that in the whole two teams that in previous years had been region opponents and are really familiar with each other, and Upperman was able to come out with a 14-0 victory.
This is old school football, guys.
Definitely.
Take the knee, get out there with a win, get out there healthy. That's the big thing.
Well, that was the thing that Upperman's defense met the challenge. I mean, Smith County has run into a defense that is similar to their own in how good they are. But Smith County played extremely well defensively to go against one of the top teams in Class 4A. The main thing, I know Matt Dyer won't agree, but I think this is a game that makes them stronger. I think this is, as Cam was talking about with Clarksville, I think this is exactly why you schedule games like this, to hone you for the playoff run. And I think that if he comes out there healthy, that this is a result that he can live with. Yeah,
and what a job by Smith County to keep this game 14-0, in my opinion, just because coming off an emotional win last week against East Robertson, and this Upperman team, we've said it on Wednesday. Just about everybody statewide, maybe not in East Tennessee because they're a little bit biased, but Pearl Cone is the number 1 team in 4A. And then the number 2 spot, there's a few teams battling for that spot, and I think Upperman is definitely one of those teams.
Yep. Upperman 7-0 going in the open date. Smith County with a good opportunity next week to bounce back at Jackson County. Green Hill, they bounced back in a big way. 35-0 win over Warren County. The Hawks have their open date next week, and Warren County will travel to Tullahoma. A very good Tullahoma team, by the way.
Makes vacation a little easier to relax.
There you go. Mention Pearl Cone, homecoming night. The Firebirds roll yet again. 49-0 win over Whites Creek. Business as usual for Pearl Cone since those couple early close wins.
Yeah,
3 weeks in a row shutouts.
The thing that gets me is that, again, I hate talk out of both sides of my mouth, but, Keyshawn Tarleton only threw 3 passes in this game. 2 of them were for scores. But the way Pearl is beating teams right now makes me wonder what happens when they actually do play a team that is at least a little bit more comparable to their talent.
Thing is I don't know when that'll happen.
Well, the thing is,
Could be
we did
Chattanooga.
see that.
Yeah.
We did see that, and they beat a CPA team
Right.
that is really good. So unlike a team like Clarksville, they've had that opponent. It was just in week 2. So it's just and that was kind of smart on Coach Burnetti's side, because if you get banged up in that game, you got 8 weeks to get guys ready for the playoffs. So
Valid point.
Big win for the Firebirds. They'll travel to Greenbrier next week, while Whites Creek will travel to Grace Christian. Lebanon, massive win over Wilson Central. Score-wise, this one shocked me. The Blue Devils are really, really clicking right now, guys.
Yeah, this one kind of got out of hand a little bit more than what I thought. But yeah, Lebanon is right now they're making a statement, and I think that statement is, "Hey, we haven't gone anywhere."
Yep, big. They got a huge game here in 2 weeks. They'll play on the road at Mount Juliet, I believe. So it's gonna be a massive game.
Yeah, I think Coach Gentry has got his eye on that one, and he'll be that one could be that one is going to be a good game, because regardless, those are cross county rivals. If you can
Lebanon
get to a game, that's one to get to.
Lebanon still has 2 tough region opponents in Mount Juliet and Gallatin left this year.
Yeah.
Some out of area scores. Let's talk about them. Cornersville 45-42 win over Cannon County. Columbia Academy rolls over Clarksville Academy 38-7. CPA, the Lions, they're picking up steam. 51-0 win over Webb. Marshall County shuts out Creekwood 41-0. That one kind of shocked me. I thought Creekwood had been playing a little better. Mount Pleasant gets back in the win column, beating up on DCA 37-29.
Yeah, that Mitchell Carey, another good night. 14-20, 264, and 3 scores. And
DCA has lost a few games here in the last few weeks, where Mitchell Carey has put up on, sideways numbers, 250 plus yards, 3 or 4 touchdowns, and defensively the Wildcats just can't get it done right now. But you mentioned Marshall County, that could be the next test for Pearl Cone. I believe it's a week 11 matchup.
Yep.
A matchup that has given Pearl Cone fits in the past against Marshall County. I believe that was a 1-score game last year in the regular season, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. Eagleville 31-9 winners over the Tennessee Heat. Little scoregami here, I think, guys. Ensworth 42-2 win over Christian Heritage. Good win for the Tigers.
I don't know if that's accurate. I thought Ensworth lost that game.
No, Ensworth won.
Did they win? Okay, my bad.
Everything I've seen has Ensworth in this score.
Lewis County 26-7 win over Harpeth. Kind of big game down in Chattanooga. South Pitt picks up the 18-6 win over MTCS. That game was 0-0 at half. South Pitt comes out second half. They put some points on the board. Not a bad result for MTCS though. That South Pitt team is very good.
No,
Clay, go
Yeah.
ahead.
that South Pitt team is the real deal, folks. I mean, they're probably the odds-on favorite to win 1A, and Middle Tennessee Christian, after a huge win against Friendship, another very strong showing this week at South Pitt.
Clay
Yeah.
County picks up the 25-6 win over Joe Burns. Clay County's playing really well this year, guys.
Yeah. And I apologize. I was looking at the wrong stat sheet on Ensworth.
Well, we'll let it slide this time.
Yeah, and you mentioned Clay County. They're a team that made a state championship run last year and lost in the state championship game. But what people and that may not be in our area or only follow big team football, they have 3 really good coaches on that staff. Bruce Lamb, that was at Livingston Academy back a few years ago. Mike Dickerson, that was at Smith County, and Jimmy Maynard, that was at Smith County, and then at Cookeville, all on that same staff. And what a job they've been able to do with the Bulldogs.
Absolutely. Last one, Rockville. Big win for the Rockets. They get back in the win column, 31-7 win over Coffee County. They needed that after a couple of blowout losses these last couple of weeks.
Yeah, Rockville getting back in that winning role, and I got to look at that region because I'm wondering what the loss of Thomas Santel is going to do to the way that region looks.
Has Siegel and Rockville played yet?
Don't believe so.
I don't believe so. I think they tend to be towards the end of the season.
Yeah, could be looking at a win and end game.
Yeah, that's what I was.
They will play week 11. There you go.
Yeah.
Could very much so be a win in the end.
So,
yeah.
All right, guys. Great week of action. Give you guys last word. Cam, we'll start with you.
Yeah, it's another good week of high school football action. I got a light week coming up this week with a bunch of bye weeks, but there's still some good matchups in there. Guys, we're just a few weeks away from playoff time. It's starting to get darker earlier. It's starting to get cooler. Some of these teams are starting to separate themselves. Oakland, after a slow first half, come out and asserted their dominance in the second half. FRA, second week in a row that they've been in a tight game in the first half and has shown character and resolve and pulled away and won games. And then you got teams like East Robertson that are good enough to make a run to Chattanooga that are still just battling some mistakes. So we're getting closer here, and it's exciting. It's football time. We get football on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So it is my favorite time of the year. I don't know about y'all.
Yeah, no, Cam, you can't say it any better than that. It's football weather. It's football time. And I'd like to shout out to the people that make high school football go, and that's the supporters, the boosters, the volunteers. Last night at FRA, and they're not the only ones, but I am going to thank them for their hospitality last night. Outstanding service, outstanding atmosphere. You can't ask for a better atmosphere than that. But everywhere we've been this year, the teams and their administrators and their supporters have been nothing but gracious and nothing but professional. They love high school football. It's what they do that for. Can't go without them, and they don't get the thanks I don't think that they sometimes deserve. And so this is my thank you to them for all their hospitality and everything they do to make high school football work in the state and everywhere.
Last thing for me, guys, just want to say thanks to all the people that have started following us these last couple weeks. Last night had a lot of FRA supporters come up and, thank us for picking them. And, they tell us that they watch our shows. I've had reps the last couple weeks tell me they enjoy watching the show. Some kids after the game last night really came up and they were talking to Scott and I about the game and our rankings and how much they like that sort of stuff. So Big thank you to everybody that's recently jumped on the train, got us to 1,000 followers on YouTube. We are 9 followers away on Instagram. Let's get us to 4,000 by the end of the day. Just a big thank you. And yeah, next week should be a lot of fun. Brentwood Centennial. I envy Chris. Have fun at that one, my guy. And don't know where Scott and I will be yet, but there are a couple games we're looking at. So
Yep.
that's all I got. Believe that's all the damage we can do today, guys. As Chris likes to famously say, it's a nice day out. Go enjoy the weather or watch college football all day. Either way, you can't miss. And we'll see you guys here Wednesday night.
If you had the under on my mistakes, take your shot of coffee.
Absolutely.
Go Vols.